Welcome back to the Spotlight. I'm Nicole Pogue, the Executive Director here at Azura Veterans Coalition, and we are in the Defenders Lounge talking about all the things veteran related. And I would like to first off thank our sponsors here at Black Rifle out of Phoenix. They have donated many pounds of coffee for your brewing pleasure. Here available in the lounge Monday through Friday, 8 to 4. Come grab a snack and a cup of joe and let's talk. Today, I have a very special guest. I can't wait to get into the conversation. But first, I would like to lay in the caveat here that some of the things we'll talk about today are a little sensitive. They may be a little triggering, a little bit about military sexual trauma, veteran suicide, and what have you, and the strife that we all struggle with as we navigate the veteran healthcare system and the world after your service. So if you are struggling with anything along those lines, please don't hesitate to call the Veterans National Crisis Hotline at 988, then press option 1. You matter. You're worth it. There's much left to do, and you're not alone, and we are here to help you. Come down. Let's talk. Pam, you agree?
I absolutely agree, 100%.
Welcome to the show, Professor Pamela Lizardi.
Thank you.
I'm thrilled to have you here as one of our newest donors. Recently, we've received a $4,500 check from you and your group at Val Vista Village Auction.
Yes.
Thank you so much, because that's going to help a couple of our programs. It's already helping. So
fabulous.
Thank you so much for that. And there's more fundraising that you're doing for us.
You betcha. I told you there'll be more next year.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Well, outside of fundraising for veteran groups and being a veteran advocate, what else do you do? How you joined the service? At what age? What'd you do in the service? How'd you come to be a professor? And this beautiful bombshell that you are today, showing up for everybody.
Thank you. Let's see. I joined the Army on a dare. My friends were like, she won't make it through basic training. And I'm like, bet me. Went down, signed up the next day.
Girl.
22 years later, I got out. So
wow. Hell of a bet. What'd you win?
Yeah, well, they had to throw me a party, but you know. No big deal. I was a military police officer the majority of my career, well, all of my career, except for when I was in recruiting command. And at that time is when I met Ruben. So, you know, God had a plan. I just wasn't listening.
Who's Ruben?
That's my significant other.
Also a veteran.
Also a veteran. And he served 30 years. So between us, we have over 50.
Thank you both for your service. I've met Ruben. He is such a great guy. He's so calm, and you're a little heightened like myself. And so like, it's a nice match.
We definitely have the yin and the yang. That's for sure.
Okay. And you also have a younger one, a little doggy.
Oh, my Chai. Yeah, that's, she's with me most of the time. Not with me today, but it's because I had to come straight from school. But Chai is my service dog. She's a miniature boxer.
Oh, man. Just love it.
Yeah.
Love it. How does Chai show up for you today?
Chai shows up for me. It's funny. You and I just had a conversation about this. At my worst points, or those points that are somewhat triggering, the hand that I hold is a paw.
That's so adorable. Yeah. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's like that unconditional love that you receive. And they have this intuition.
Yes.
Amazing. Well, I'm glad that you have that company with you. I'm settling into a new place right now, and then working with Soldier's Best Friend here in Defender's Den. I will be searching for my new service animal, or my first and only, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm all alone out there, you know, going through all of this.
There for you. Yeah.
The paw. Oh. Okay, so what do you do at Maricopa or Mesa Community College?
Mesa Community College. I'm a professor of administration of justice, teach criminology, victimology, ethics, criminal law, all the administration of justice studies from my experience as a military police officer for that, my period of time in the service. And then I got my education, bachelor's degree, master's, and PhD in education. So, yeah.
Hashtag goals. Oh, what a phenomenal career you've had. Criminology and victimology. Did that stem from something that happened in the military? Why you chose to lead this route?
Yeah, well, especially victimology is my favorite class to teach. And I think the main thing people need to know is that victimology is a study in itself. Those of us who have been victims or survivors of whatever trauma it may be in their life, whether it be in the civilian world or in the military, victims have a special, what's the word I want to use, theory behind what made them victims, what, you know, led us down that path. And a little bit of that precipitation from me because um, I chose to join the military at a time there were only 7% women. And you and I've had this conversation before that we're pretty unique when it comes to the U.S. population. I mean, there's, I've got to get my statistic because you know me, I'm not going to want to quote this wrong. There's only 4.9% of the population are retired U.S. vets in the first place. Of that percentage, only 0.6% of Americans are retired enlisted soldiers. And of that percentage, only less than 10% of that number. So women enlisted retirees is 0.01% of the US population. So we're about as unique a character as you can get. And learning how to transition back into life as a survivor of military sexual trauma was difficult, as you know, is difficult.
Yes, ma'am. That percentage is like a period at the end of a sentence in a long paragraph.
Exactly.
Wow, wild. This transitioning after having to leave the military with that kind of assault. How how do women traverse that when they come into the civilian world? Do they go straight to the VA? Do they come to a group like ours? Um, how do they find a way through that, knowing that they're so in such a small little realm, and
Like
most of those women hide out and don't ask for help, and they don't create groups around that. Even though we have all these MST groups, women aren't showing up for them. The numbers are really small.
right.
The shame is really large.
I think a lot of that has to do with and how no, we don't show up at the VA because I mean, if you read the book The Women, for instance, about the
Mm,
women from Vietnam, you know, when you showed up down there, well, because you didn't see combat, you can't be traumatized. Well, that's just not true. And for me, I had one physical sexual assault and then a 7, almost 8 year period of time where I was sexually harassed, and that trauma gives me nightmares.
so not the assault, but
Not the assault as much as the sexual assault, the sexual harassment, because it went on for so long and it eats away at your self-esteem. I was never good enough. I was either overweight or underweight, or um, I wasn't allowed to sit at the table where all the other first sergeants were sitting. I didn't get to stay at the same hotel as the other first sergeants. And at first I thought, well, they are doing that to protect me. No, that isolates you, which makes you accessible to those predators and those few percent of male soldiers that are monsters
yeah,
that live in our dreams.
perpetually. I got out in 2006 and I still have nightmares.
Yeah.
Not just from assault, but from, it's hard to carry all that with you, even when you make rank and you think you're doing good. And I know everybody's view is a little subjective, but it's like when you're banding with your sisters, they're like, I don't want to be a part of you now because you're branded and I don't want to get hurt. So they step away and then you feel even more alone in the small company that you're in. I'm like, this is wild. Then you
Yeah.
come out, you're even smaller. So
Yes, definitely as you make rank and take on that leadership role, if you make any waves, then you get branded. And it did affect me. My goal was to make sergeant major. I didn't, but I'm proud of retiring as a first sergeant, because I solely didn't make sergeant major because of that trauma that finally hit me. And and yeah, when you share what's happening with your best friends and they don't believe you, you are really less likely to share it with anybody else,
mhm.
because you're like, if they don't believe me, then no one will. It was years for me, years,
Yeah, constantly seeking the validation. You're
that
like,
it actually
this
happened.
happened to me.
Yes.
I need you to know. So like when you're going after your service benefits,
Mhm.
uh I'm like, I don't care what the percentage is but I need someone to recognize that this caused me to have to leave the military. It ruined my career. It took away what little mental health I had because a lot of people that go into the military are dealing with a lot of childhood trauma and
Mhm.
other things. So 20 years you said you've been fighting your service
Yeah. I,
connection.
I retired in '05 and started filing in '05, and now we are in '25. So yeah, 20 years I've been fighting for my service connection for a few of those things.
It wasn't just MST. There were other things you were affected
Oh
by.
yeah, lots of other things, but the MST, like they didn't recognize MST as PTSD, even though that's now my diagnosis. My percentage of disability is for anxiety disorder, not for PTSD. Whereas if I was a male soldier suffering from PTSD, I'd probably already have 100%
Yeah, it's
because
almost
I've already been suicidal and had to call that number and grateful that it's there.
me as well. It's helped me through a lot of events. So it's so unfortunate that there are women still struggling, even though we've come a long way, we've developed a lot. It's still happening.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. We have a long way to go. And having a space like this does help though, because I think that when you walk into the VA hospital, it's a hospital.
Mm.
It feels like a hospital. When you walk into the Defender's Den, it feels like your brothers and sisters are there and that someone does have your back.
Yeah. And
We have people, we have the art. You told me to make sure I mentioned this. Tom George is my service, the one doing my claim, and he's amazing. He's amazing. That you get people like that that are working within the system that are helping veterans every day traverse the system. And
I,
they make us fight for every penny, every percentage.
yes, they do.
Hmm.
And it a lot of veteran service officers don't know as much as Tom does. And Tom is here in our office every week. He's been a part of this for the past 8 years, and I love having him here. He's got such great energy, and he knows that CFR back and forth.
Hmm.
So if you present as a certain way, he can tell you the ins and outs. I went through several service officers before I found one that knew what I was going through and what codes to put in, because
Yeah,
that's ultimately what it's all about.
absolutely.
And I want to make sure that people know that you don't need to go get a lawyer to fight this. You should not have to pay for this. It is free. There are great people here who can do it for you, and they're not going to take like a huge 20% cut out of what's due for you that was
Yeah.
owed to you. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
you don't need to do that. There are the Tom Georges out there, and Tom's amazing because he has those files. Like, you say it's this, and then he has this backup stuff that he, throws at you, and you're like, oh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, and he's just open and willing, and it's
Yeah.
it's it's
He's
so
so
beautiful.
positive too. He never wants anyone to feel like you shouldn't just continue to move forward.
No one should feel like that,
Yeah,
period. You
no
should
one.
come forward with whatever you're struggling with. Even just getting your 10% will get you in the door at the
Abs
VA, and the benefits are just unloaded on you. It's great.
right.
But going to the VA can be overwhelming and stressful and scary. So
And victimize you again,
it is re-traumatizing.
re-traumatizing.
Every time you go up for your compensation and pension exam, which is a third party thing they make you go through, they want all of your information in like 30 minutes, and
Mhm.
you're like, it kind of breaks you down a little
Yeah.
bit. And then who do you go to afterwards to find the support and be like, I just went through this whole thing all over again. So all this stuff's going to come up for you. So come down here, ask someone to go with you, ask someone to be there for you after the fact.
Yes.
I had someone sit in the room with me a couple times, and I was like, I need somebody here because this is not going to be good for me. It
Yeah.
was hard enough just to get in there in the first place
Absolutely.
because you think a lot of negative things like they're not going to believe me, or I'm not going to tell my story right, or I'm going to forget things, because that's what trauma does. It
Hmm.
messes up your timeline. And we
When I
just,
started writing my story, it was 8 pages. Now I'm at over 108. I mean, um, you reliving your story is good. Like when I teach my victimization classes, I tell my story. I always break down when I tell my story. And but talking about it does help. It helps us realize that it did happen. And even if it only positively affects one other person that you've told that story to, it's it's good for us to tell it and to keep telling it until we're heard. Um, and and I think that when you like you said, when we go in those CMP exams, they want you to tell 22 years of my life in a 30-minute exam, and it just doesn't happen like that. That's not how
and they're the judge and jury of
yeah,
your fate.
of our fate. And so we're just going to keep fighting. And like you said, vets taking care of vets because that's what we have to do.
We do. Like Dave Campbell, that was on the show a couple weeks ago. He's like, we need us. And I love that so much. We do need us more than ever.
Hmm.
Telling your story. creating this stage for veteran voices to convey that. It doesn't have to be through spoken word. It can be through any other outlet that you choose to do.
Right.
Like this weekend on Sunday, we have the ASU issued veteran stories. It's going to be amazing. We're going to be filming it here. The production crew is getting it all set up so that we can, really sell the fact that it's inspiring and we're building capacity within ourselves, telling our story, shaky hands, sweaty palms, all the things,
You
but
bet.
and listening to other people. Like if you're not in a space to tell your story, just come listen so that you can find power within yourself. Because we
Absolutely.
need to empower each other. We need to take our power back and stop letting whatever happened in the past still control us. It might still be there. It might
Yeah.
still be completely embedded in our nervous systems for a long time.
Yeah,
But we don't have to allow it to dictate our lives today.
No, definitely not. When I was teaching high school up in Sholo, I was part of a program, Veterans Heritage Project, and we interviewed veterans from World War II vets that are still alive, all the way to Afghan, Iraqi vets, and the we published books that were called "Since You Asked," and really that's the thing. Since you asked me, now I can share.
Mm,
You know, and too many people will go their whole life without telling their story. And that's why that's why we lose 22 veterans a day. That's why the suicide rate is what it is. And just remember to call that number. And there are people there that will listen to you. I know my psychiatrist from the VA has been with me for 20 years. And when I called that number, they went out of their way to get him on the phone.
mm.
And Dr. Davis said to me, Pam, I've been with you for 20 years. I'm not losing you today. And he made sure he canceled 4 other appointments while he was on the phone with me, but he wasn't getting off the phone.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, I hope we can be that beacon for a lot of people here. So
Yeah.
we can hold them until they can hold themselves.
Exactly. Maybe
To-
I'll be able to do that for another vet after me. Might be the first, but I won't be the last.
Yes, ma'am. And that's what I try to do, like that I've overcome a lot of things and I'm moving forward with my life. Now I get to reach back and bring people up with me
You bet.
so they don't have to suffer as long. And it's a struggle. It's really difficult. Creating the East Valley Women Veterans Group has been so helpful. And we have one of them in the house tonight. She's a huge volunteer. And I think that having a tribe of women around who understand what's going on through all eras,
Yeah.
because, my war was a different war than your war.
Yeah.
You, being in the Army, your basic was taking place at a place where they had vats of Agent Orange.
Yeah.
So now you have physical symptoms coming from that, which
Absolutely.
should already give you 100%. I do not understand
Yeah.
how that code works.
Well, yeah. That's PACT Act stuff. And so for those of you that served at Fort McClellan, know that you have to keep fighting that fight too, because that's where those vats were at. And if you went through Military Police Academy at Fort McClellan, or if you did basic training at Fort McClellan, make sure you get into a VA office, a veteran service officer, and get your claim filed, because the more of us who file will ensure that more people will get their gist.
Yeah. And the congressmen, Congress people are working to bring that in, more well known and easier access to it. So, so you have a passion and a purpose here, doing all the things that you're doing. I commend you for that. I thank you for that. Internally, I'm so grateful to have you here as like a mentor woman, like something I'm after here. Like you're leading the way for a lot of women who are struggling through. You're like, I struggle and I do it anyway.
Yeah,
I'm still gonna go forward, and I still have these things. And I asked you before the show, I'm like, do you have any safety behaviors? Because I carry a lot of ice with me, and that's what I do for myself. And you're like, I have my dog. And there's so many other things that we can do. We can teach each other here in the lounge. We have a lot of modalities that will help that.
Oh, got to talk about yoga a little bit then. Also
And
teach
you're the
yoga.
yoga instructor.
Also teach yoga. And we're going to be doing
can't
that
wait to
right
get
over
you in there.
Right over there in that room. We're going to be doing that.
How has that been beneficial to you?
Oh my gosh. I think yoga heals us from the inside out. I think that working on that fascia, I think fascia holds a lot of our trauma. And I
The
think
issues are in your tissues.
issues are in our tissues. Absolutely. And I think working on that, stretching, it helps with all the physical things that are wrong with us. My whole right side, right ankle, right hip, right, all that. It helps with that. But when I left the Army, I walked with a cane. And obviously I don't walk with a cane now. So that's yoga.
When I see you come in a room, you're like doing cartwheels. I'm like, here she comes.
There are days that I'm in a lot more pain than others, but there are days that I'm better too. And that's because of yoga. So having that room where we can meditate and even just be quiet with another human, or touching another human. I love to do assisted yoga where I don't do adjustments. I always say chiropractors do adjustments. I just assist. And sometimes it's just putting my finger on your shoulder and saying, move that shoulder back here. And people are like, wow, oh, yeah, now, okay.
Yeah, because
And
you're not aware that
yeah,
you have all these
right,
behaviors here.
right. Because
Mm,
we carry, like I said, the issues in the tissues.
yes. Well, we're gonna get you on the schedule here.
Yeah.
And do your kids participate in any of this? You have some foreign exchange children.
Yes, I do. So I have a daughter from Finland, a son and daughter from Germany, and a son from Mexico.
How did all that happen?
Well, I think because of my time at Fort McClellan, I was never able to have children of my own. And I think that God had a plan for that too, because he allowed me to have space in my heart to love all these kids that came into my life through the exchange program. And my daughter, my Finnish daughter's been my daughter since '06, my German daughter since '07, my German son since 2011, and my Mexican son since '09. So,
Wow,
yeah.
what a big heart you have.
And I
That's
love them all very, very much. They filled such a hole in my heart. I can't even explain it.
so you weren't able to have children because of what you sustained.
Yeah. 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 I'd have hysterectomy when I was 42. So,
But you found a way to find love in your life
yeah,
and build a family anyway.
absolutely.
That's so awesome.
Yeah.
Instead of giving up and like, well, there's nothing left for me in the world, you're like, I'm gonna find a way.
I'm going to find a way because there's,
You have
you,
so much love to give. I
yeah.
mean, you continue to.
Yeah. And you can't love someone, all those kids have, yes, they have birth families back in their country, but they call me their mom, and I'm mom and Ruben's dad. And when we go visit, we're the American mom and dad. And, um, the whole family, all their families have taken us in, and that's just fulfilled. But I never thought when I took in a foreign exchange kid that one day I'd be sitting in their, home that was built 250 years ago and having a cup of coffee with their mom and dad, and trying to traverse different languages and all that kind of stuff too. Never dreamt. But you know, Lord works in mysterious ways.
Absolutely. Things, synchronicities line up when you're following your truth.
Yeah.
And I think we all have that special, unique ability to show up differently in the world that you have no idea who you're going to touch with it.
Yeah, and when you're a person of service, I mean, all of us that are in service, I heard the person that was doing the podcast before us that, when we all joined for a reason for that service. All the male members of my family have served since this American Revolution. General George B. McClellan is my fifth great uncle.
Oh, wow.
And so people are of service are just people of service. And so when you no longer serve wearing the uniform, that's the one great thing about being a retiree. We never lose our rank. I'm First Sergeant Retired Lizardi and always will be. When people retire from the post office, they don't continue to be a postman, or they retire from working at wherever. They don't continue to be a teacher. They don't. We carry that rank with us the rest of our lives. So being of service is something we just do.
We just do.
We just do.
We must
It's
carry
how
on.
we carry on.
Carry on. Yes, taking the words out of my mouth. Soul sister right here.
Mhm.
I'm so grateful that you showed up here. I mean, through one of our VA work study students, she introduced me to you because she goes to school and you're one of her professors.
Mhm.
And then you showed up. You're like, I got to see what this woman doing veteran things is all about. And
Yeah.
you showed in with all your glory and just like changed the trajectory here in the most beautiful way. So I can't thank you enough. I appreciate you and Robin and everybody from Val Vista Village
You
and
got it.
whoever else we can, bring in the fold here.
You bet.
Because there's a lot of us out there suffering who don't know where to go. And it's hard to trust. It's, like I said, you can be a wallflower, but then you'll know that we're real authentic and we still struggle, but we're struggling well
Mhm.
and we're overcoming and we need each other. We need us.
We need us. Yes, we do.
Yeah. And then there's so many more programs that we want to develop in here. We want to build this space. Like I've just kind of built the shell of it. But the more and more of us that come through here, it's like, what do you want to do here? How do we develop it more?
Right.
How do we contain these multitudes, right?
Right.
Like, because there's so much we can do here. We're going after funding. So if you want to donate to this cause, please go to azuravets.org/donate/give. And your dollars will go to direct services here because that's what we need here. We're trying to build this East Valley Veteran Hub where you can get all of your services here. We had the Ro Gonzalez, who runs VVCAS, did his coffee connections here yesterday. And all this room was packed full of other veteran groups who were all about the same mission.
Absolutely.
So like if I can't do direct services here for you, I can be like, I know this person, I know this group, personally, and this is how we can, get you to the right spot as fast as possible. So you're not going down to the VA and you're spinning your wheels and you get overwhelmed. You're like, fuck it, I'm done.
I'm done. Mhm.
So that's what we're trying to do here. It is the place. We are a coalition, and a coalition means a team of like-minded people who are after the same cause.
Absolutely.
So if you have coalition in the name and you're not doing that, thumbs up.
Yeah.
Because that's what we're trying to be about here. And
for all soldiers, not just female vets, for all veterans.
we serve all who served
We serve all
and their families and first responders. Like, this space is open for everybody.
Absolutely.
We all need to learn how to handle each other, how to communicate with each other. And there's a lot of enabling going on. There's a lot of resistance and aversion to things. It's like, it's okay to lean in and know that there is support on both sides of it. There's more awareness and education that needs to be had. So we have like a giant projector screen in here that we can showcase whatever people want to discuss surrounding not just the healthcare, but the mental health. And the family piece is huge for me, because when I was going through my shit, like, my family had no idea how to talk to me.
Right.
And then I felt super alone, and then I went inward and I got super angry, and that wasn't helpful. And I was like exploding left and right. And they're like, I'm not going to be your victim because you were victimized, right? Like, it's not fair.
Yeah.
But you don't know what you don't know. And it took me a very long time to learn what I know today. And it's hard to shake those things out. And we need to find a way to be more compassionate towards ourselves and other people.
Yeah. And that's the thing, when I help other vets, their spouses will say to me, well, how come you know so much more about my spouse, whether it's a male or a female? And I'll say, because I know. And I go, your vet spouse can't take the time to explain to you their experiences so that you get what they're going through. And that's why vets need other vets. We're all fighting a battle that you may know nothing about. Just be kind.
Yeah.
Robin Williams.
Be kind is the best advice in the world.
Absolutely.
Anybody in the world is suffering something that you know nothing about. And being an asshole is not helpful.
No.
And like that, what does that do for you?
Right.
I know that I get shame when I do that. I'm like, man, I was such a dick. Why? And I'm going to beat myself up. And like, so it's better to just, I like to say, I try not to do things I have to apologize for, because I hate apologizing. So just show up different.
Right.
And try to be better, 1% better every day.
Yeah.
And know that, it doesn't take a lot to be kind.
No, it doesn't.
It takes more muscles to frown. It takes more to be angry, and it takes more out of you. It takes more energy. We only have so much energy in a day.
Right.
So, and then to get our energy back, we can stretch and pull in some poses, which actually, they say yoga, it prepares you for meditation.
Absolutely.
And I think I know that meditation has helped me. It's been the most paramount thing for me. It's hard.
Yes,
but
it is.
makes the rest of life a little bit easier.
A little bit easier. Yeah.
Because knowing that I can be alone in one space for a few moments at a time, like, I can do this.
Yeah.
I can stay here and be in the moment right now.
Yeah. We can do hard things.
We can do hard things.
Yes, we can.
That's just, so you're retiring soon.
I'm retiring from the college. Yes.
What are you going to do with your life?
10th, I'm gonna become a thorn in your side. I'll be here all the time.
Yeah.
I'm gonna teach more yoga. I'm gonna hopefully do some more fundraising for you, and just find, fill my space with helping other veterans struggle through what's left. There's a lot of life out there to still live, and we got to do it.
We do.
Yeah.
I want to continue. I want to continue doing what I get to do here.
Yeah, and we want you to do that without having to have another full-time job. So remember, donate, donate, donate. There's always veterans that need help, and places like this don't exist without people stepping up. And all of us, there's that old saying, some gave some and some gave all. Well, we gave some, and that's all we're asking you to do is give some. We're not asking you to give it all. Give some. It'll keep the doors open in this place. And you don't know, it might keep a vet alive, and that veteran might be someone related to you. It might be your neighbor, it might be your mailman. But having a space like this might keep a vet alive.
I love that. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
And it's so true. It is just having this space open. We've had a couple of people walk in just by seeing the sign out there.
Yeah.
And I just want to convey that there is a female saluting on our logo. And there was a male silhouette before, but because I had to put that up there so that women know that this is a beacon for them to come in. We do serve everyone who served.
Yeah.
But we deserve a space out there like that.
Absolutely. And all the years that we had I'm a part of the American Legion and the Elks and the VFW, and they have male symbols. Doesn't mean that I wasn't welcome there. Just by us having a female symbol here doesn't mean that males aren't welcome here.
Exactly. And 90% of the people that walk in the door are males.
Yes.
And I serve them all. And we work with each other. We
Oh
help
yeah,
each
we got a
other
bunch of
out.
stuff coming up.
We got a bunch of stuff coming up. Talking about women, we have the Women Who Lead Summit. That is happening on May 7th. Myself and the East Valley Women Veterans will be in attendance for that. It's an empowerment thing for female vets and non-veterans. So, fostering education and everything surrounding that. I know I need executive coaching as I come into this new career. And the Kathy Gallowitz, she's been retired lieutenant colonel. She's been so awesome. She's, following up, and she's like intriguing people to come in and share their stories. And then she has every second Wednesday, a different woman is speaking from the heart and sharing her leadership skills and success and triumphs and what she had to overcome and traverse as well. Really cool group. I'm glad I got to learn about them. And I'm excited to go see what it's all about and be a part of that. So, and then another women's event is June 12th is Women Veterans Day.
Yeah, so we were make sure we remember that because a lot of people remember that Veterans Day is 11 11 11, the 11th month, 11th hour, November 11th. But there is a Women's Veterans Day as well, and that is June 12th. So yeah, we have to take the time to celebrate us as well.
We do, especially being 0.01%,
1% of the entire population.
400 million people it is.
And contrary to popular belief, we do have an impact on combat.
Yes, we do.
Yes, we do.
And thank you to all the women who are out there currently serving. Mad respect. Armed Forces Day tribute is May 17th at the Chandler's Elks Lodge. I spoke there last year. It was so cool to speak on behalf of a lot of women. Susan Whitaker, she came to the Coffee Connection yesterday. She's also a former military. I'm just pleased to have her in coming to all of our groups and inviting us to show up again for them. The Elks Lodge has been really cool. All the legions are awesome, and
yes,
all of them will be here this weekend at the Andy Biggs Drop Zone event that's happening annually. It's one of the biggest stand-downs of the year. All of your wraparound services will be there. You can get your benefits taken care of. You can meet like-minded people. A lot of senior citizens, like our most at-risk population. There are so many people there. Last year I was completely overwhelmed. There's active duty there. There's like a stage and music and food and vendors and like this huge train thing that was really cool last year.
awesome.
And you can buy all your military garb and just anything you need. And if you're just a civilian and you want to find out what veteran services you have to offer your family or just want to be involved, you can go do that too. A lot of volunteer opportunities, or you can come volunteer here. We're always looking for more volunteers to keep the doors open and make some coffee and show up and tell your story and hang out with other people for that camaraderie and connection. But I'm excited. We'll be tabling this event. Health screenings, all the things, like literally
And
anything that you need. This is this Saturday from 10 to 2 at the American Leadership Academy in Mesa. If you go to our website, azuravets.org, it is on the calendar. All the directions were there with this flyer, or you can come down to the resource center tomorrow and check it out. But yeah, Congressman Andy Biggs will be there, and he's also up for, he's in the 5th district. He's going up for governor, right?
Oh, yeah.
And it was ran by Lee Huff, just retired. What a cool guy. I got to see him today with his ukulele at the Veterans Affinity Coffee Hour. It's cool that when people retire, they continue to give work in the veteran sphere.
Absolutely. That's service.
Yeah. There's also a suicide prevention and vets thing going on. Side by I'm like, if you need any resources, we have them all here. All the veteran organizations come in here and drop off their flyers. And then also like Ro Gonzalez at VBCAS, he's got all the connections on his website as well. He's got a really cool newsletter out there. And Home of Record Project is helping veterans find housing. And then we have Marcus from Veterans 5 to 9. Like I can go on and on. There's so many great people in this area that are doing so much. Like if you need anything, come down here. We'll direct you to the right people who have the funding, who are actually doing the work, giving direct services to the veterans who deserve them, and making sure that their families are taken care of. So
yes,
it's like that's like every day. Like I could do this every day. Like there's so much going on. It's hard to follow through. And then, but I'm really want everyone to know about the ASU Veteran Voices this weekend. I'm really excited about that because it's given a lot of notoriety and exposure to the space that we're trying to develop here. And it's why I built the stage,
Yes.
because being on stage is what helped me the most. My whole tattoo of my arm is all about a stage and, sharing, expressing my voice because for so long when I was suffering with my PTSD, I didn't have a voice and I was mute and I was angry and I didn't know how to express it. But then I read The Body Keeps the Score
Yeah.
and I started doing psychodrama and I started writing, I started doing poetry and I started using my voice. And now you can't shut me up.
That's it.
We're probably
Wonderful.
out of time, as a matter of fact.
It's been a pleasure.
What's that? Oh yeah. Yeah, Goldie Murphy will be here tomorrow for the music military medicine where she uses or she teaches guitar and ukulele lessons, and there's a bunch of cool people in here sharing all their little skills. So it's pretty cool. We also have a couple machines coming in that are non-invasive therapeutic modalities that'll help calm the nervous system down. People are donating things left and right that are, that are so helpful that I had no idea about until I got off medication and found all these things that saved my life. So, and I want to help you find that for yourself as well.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for being on the show today.
Namaste. It's been my pleasure.
Namaste for sure. Yeah, absolutely. I can't wait to see what's going to happen next and how we develop here. And another big thanks to Black Media Production for putting on the show for us. And I think that's all we have because I could keep
Great.
going on because I'm one of those.
Because we never know when to stop.
We never know to stop. See you next time. Take care of yourself. Thank you for your service.